Sorry for the late start. This is my fault this week. My wife has to go out of town, so I'll help her get some stuff ready. So we'll get into it.
Vikings, let's win this game. Score Vikings, honor the name. Go get that first down, then get a touchdown. Rock 'em, sock 'em, fight, 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 fight. Go Vikings, run out the score. You'll hear us yell for more. V-I-K-I-N-G-S. Score Vikings, let's roll.
All right, it is week 1. It is football season. It is officially here.
It is
First game
beginning
tomorrow night.
the beginning of another stressful fall and early winter season for Viking fans.
Yes.
Let's just be honest. This team will dictate our moods during the holidays.
You thank
And-
Yogi for that.
Yeah, that's all on Yogi. I mean, this team is hopefully I'm optimistic. Maybe too optimistic. We'll see, but I think as a Viking fan, you have to have optimism. You have to.
Well-
Anything's possible.
Pete Briscoe picked the Giants, and then I'm thinking to myself, well, he picked the Blind Sisters of the Poor against the Vikings. So he's like, Sam Darnold is a backup quarterback. I said, well, come on, man. You were telling me a backup quarterback has never played a good season as a starter.
Well, the funny part is the Giants starter should be a backup quarterback.
Exactly. But
we'll just have no matter what they look like on paper, they still got to line up and play.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
I was talking to One Bar in Leviticus earlier. I was on their show.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, "Oh, you talk Vikings Vintage, right?" And then we're talking about what the host of the show tonight was going to be about. Best opening games of Vikings history. And they're like, "Oh, it's going to be all positive, right?" I said, "Nope.
No,
Our show is not like that. This is Vikings Vintage.
No.
There is just as much pain as there is joy. So
this is real life.
Yeah.
Even in the glory years, there were problems. I look back. I was getting ready for the show. We've only opened a season against the Giants one other time, right? And that was 1969.
I can look it up.
Yeah, and if that's the case, we lost that one, but luckily we rattled off 12 straight and went to our first Super Bowl. So, and that game was with a backup quarterback because Gary Quazzo started and not Joe Cap. And the Vikings were coming off an undefeated preseason. So, it's anything can happen.
Well, we know 61 was the Bears.
The most memorable one, that was the Bears.
Yeah.
The one that started it off.
37-13.
Yep, the Bears. I remember we opened up the season on Monday Night Football a couple of years in a row in the 70s. We opened up the season in 71. We beat Detroit on Monday Night Football. And then the next year, 72, was the return of Fran Tarkington, and we lost to the Redskins 24-21, and that was on a block kick. That those first 4 games of the season for the Vikings, the games they lost were by a total of 7 points. They lost by 3 to Washington. They lost by 2 to the Dolphins. And they lost by 2 to the Cardinals because, Fred Cox missed a field goal. So, 9 times out of 10, depending on how you start the season, doesn't, sometimes you bounce back, but sometimes then you, the season kind of is a telltale. Yeah, you're right, Davey, because here's a name that played that game that started. Bookie Bolin ended up playing guard I don't think he played it down for the rest of the year. I think Ed White got some snaps too. Doug Davis started at right
From
tackle for Ron
61
Yeary.
to 61 to 67, the Vikings opened the season against the 49ers 4 times.
Against the Niners?
4 times.
Wow.
I'm looking at it now. I'm going season by season. Yeah.
And I remember, okay, so that was 4 times up until 60 what?
So 60, you're right. 69 was the first year they opened the Giants. From 61 to 68, they opened the season against the 49ers 4 times.
Okay, and then if I remember right, we opened the season in my lifetime against the Niners in 75, 79, 85, 2015 for sure. That was a Monday nighter.
Brett Favre year. Oh wait, no, that was week 2.
No, that was week 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like the Niners are always the team we opened up with. It's weird. Yeah, you're right, Davey. Doug Davis was serviceable. He started before Yeary, and then Yeary ended up taking his spot, but Doug could play both sides of the line. He could play both left and right. So
Yeah, I'm up to 73, and so far 69 is the only season they've opened the Giants.
73 they opened against the Raiders. I remember that. 74 was the Packers. 75 was the Niners, and 76 was the Saints.
Greatest year ever, 75.
Yeah, that was the Niners.
So far we definitely opened up the most against the 49ers in the NFC. Which is really weird.
Yeah, why do you always pick the Niners? I don't know, but yeah, you're right, Davey. Doug was bigger than Grady. Grady was small to be a tackle. Grady was only like 6'2", and maybe 230. That was kind of small for a tackle. But yeah, I mean, 72. It didn't start out good. They ended up 7-7. They lost to the Cowboys in 77.
79, they opened up against the 49ers again.
Yes. Okay. The opener in 78 was against the Saints. Here's why I remember that. And this is a history thing too. I think like a couple of weeks or maybe 3 weeks before the Pope had passed away. And so they had the voting for the new Pope. And they finally picked him. Well, they had the Sunday ceremony on the opening day of the 1978 season, and it was televised. So we didn't get to see the game, the Viking game. They opened up against the Saints until after halftime because of the ceremony for the Pope.
Who cares?
And we didn't get to see the game. And so when we did see the game, it was the second half. It was the start of the second half, and the Vikings were losing. But yeah, it was. I remember that because it was like we were like, how long does it take to bring in a new pope? You know.
Whatever.
And here's the funny thing: the guy that they brought in, like 2 weeks later, he passed away. He was Pope John Paul I, and then they ended up getting John Paul II. But he passed away. But it took forever, and so we missed the first half of the 78 opener. The 79 opener wasn't even televised in the Twin Cities. It was on the radio, but it was not televised on TV. 80 we opened against the Falcons and won on a last second field goal from Rick Danmeyer. 81 we opened up in Tampa Bay, and that's the game where Steve Dills started at quarterback as Tommy Kramer was hurt. He threw 62 passes. He threw a pick six to Neil Cozy towards the end of the game, and Cozy returned it 82 yards for a touchdown, which that was it. So we lost that one, and then '82, we opened up the season at the Metrodome, beat the Buccaneers 17-10. 83, we beat Cleveland in Cleveland. 84 was Les Steckel's debut, and that was bad. That was horrible.
Well, I got to go back, but I don't remember. I don't think the Vikings have ever opened the season against the Lions. Right now, I am
Against the Lions?
So finally, 1996, they opened the season against the Lions.
They opened up against the Lions in 71.
Like I said, I had to go back and look, but I don't
Right.
remember them seeing open.
They opened up in 71, which was a Monday night game. They opened up in 86, which they lost. That was Jerry Burns' first game. 87. Right, Davey, 71, the Monday night game.
But to be honest with you, I'm mostly looking for the Giants.
96.
Video.
Yeah, there's a.
On video right now.
They've opened up against the Lions a
Turn
few
my
times.
camera off.
Yeah, they've opened up against the Lions a few times.
But comparably to like the Packers and Bears, it's really much nothing. They've opened the season against the Packers and Bears a lot. The Falcons too a lot.
The Falcons too.
I remember the Falcons in '99 season. They opened the season against the Falcons.
Opened up against them in 80, 99. 07, they opened up against the Falcons. And then 20, which was it 2016, 2018? They opened up against the Falcons. Yeah, 2018 they opened up against the Falcons, and then I'm trying to think of a team we have never opened up against the season against. I don't think we've ever opened the season against Seattle.
Move.
I don't think.
I can double check.
Yeah, I don't think we've. Let's see. I don't remember us opening up the season against Seattle or Miami. Yeah, we've never opened a season against Miami. Never Pittsburgh. Trying to think here. We have opened against the Rams. I have that much. No, T-Bass, they've never opened up the season against the Dolphins because we usually play the Dolphins in preseason too. There was a stretch there where we played the Dolphins every year in preseason for like 20 years. Angel, we have opened against the Bills. We opened against the Bills in 97.
Yeah. We're actually going through this. We've opened against the Bills a couple of times.
What was the other time? Oh, 1988.
Yeah.
1988. That game was notable because the Bills went into that game. They opened the season. Bruce Smith got suspended for 4 games.
Did someone say Jacksonville?
Miami.
Okay, because we did open up against Jacksonville.
2012. 2012, we opened up against Jacksonville.
It's overtime.
Yep. Let's see. Zimmer opened up against his first year was against the Rams.
Was that hit where he got pissed off?
No, that was the one where that was the one where we got the pick 6 for a touchdown from Harrison Smith, and then we got the long run for a touchdown from
34-6.
Yeah. I want to say Sam Bradford played quarterback. I think Bradford played quarterback that game. We also opened up against the Rams in 67. That was a Friday night game. That was a game where Vikings were getting beat like 30. They lost 39-3, I believe, but that's a game where Joe Cap literally cussed out the Fearsome Foursome, called them all names.
So Right now I'm at 2020.
Okay.
So this would only be the second time we ever opened up against the Giants.
Yeah, this would be the second time. The first time was in
69.
69, yeah. We've
But
opened against the Cowboys a
yeah.
couple times. Uh
So of
opened
course
against,
last year was Tampa.
last year was Tampa. Year
Then
before was the Packers.
yeah, 2022 is the Packers.
Who was it in 2021?
Uh, you got to scroll down. The more years you get, the more information there is. So you just
Right.
scroll through more. The Bengals.
Oh, that's the game where Dalvin Cook fumbled. That was the overtime game, right?
Yep. The game that they clearly should have won.
Yeah, that was the overtime
And
game.
then they lost by a point to Arizona the next week.
Right.
And then the next week was the game that that since KOC has been the coach, that they won by double digits. It was the 30-17 win against the Seahawks.
That was Zimmer.
Yeah, sorry, Zimmer.
Yeah, that
But
was
KOC,
Zimmer.
but that's the one that really goes back to when they say when was the last time the Vikings won by more than double digits. That was
It was the Seahawks. Ain't that something?
Mm-hmm.
God.
Yeah.
Which I think Sunday's game is going to be close, unfortunately.
I mean, other than the Packers, the Bears game didn't season, but no one counts that because it wasn't the starters. It's all backups.
Okay.
But for starters, it was that Seattle game.
We opened up against the Chiefs in 70 and beat them.
Yeah. So
That was a Super Bowl rematch, as they called it.
So,
Now keep
so
in
of
mind,
course we know 61. So if we go back to all the years that they've been a team, we all know the greatest opening win. We all know 61 was the Bears.
Yep.
And then, so 62 was the Packers.
How bad they beat us.
It was 37 something. 34-7.
In Green Bay or Minneapolis?
City Stadium, so it was in Green Bay.
Green Bay, yeah.
Which is now Lambeau.
63, who was it?
63 was the 49ers.
We lose that one?
Yep.
Home game?
No, I believe that was at
Kezar Stadium.
Kezar Stadium, yeah, which was not a very good stadium, by the way, even back then. We opened the preseason against the 49ers and the regular season against the 49ers.
Wow. They talk about schedule.
No, Vikings actually won that one 24-20.
That opener?
Yeah, and they lost to the Bears the next week.
Okay. Angel, no, Keith Millard's not in the Ring of Honor. He's not.
He should be.
Yeah. He would have been if he hadn't tore up his knee. He'd have been in the Hall of Fame if he hadn't tore up his knee.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would have been in there with Dolman. Who we open up against the 64?
I got to go back to the frozen.
Okay, Davey says we opened up in Baltimore in 65 and lost. Yeah, we were 8-5-1 the year before. Yeah, 65 was kind of a 65 was probably where you could tell that Norm Van Brocklin's style of coaching was getting kind of old. And I think the rift between him and
So Davey said who in 64?
Yeah, 64.
Colts 34-24, Metropolitan Stadium.
Okay, we lost.
No, we won.
We won.
They lost the next 2 games to the Bears and Rams.
Jeez, talk about inconsistent. And
And then
65, we lost to the Colts.
65 was the Colts again. 16. They lost 16-35. So they played 3 of their first home games were at Metropolitan. No, sorry, 4 of the first 5 games were at Metropolitan Stadium, and they lost 3 of them.
Not uncommon for the team back then.
They went to LA, beat LA, then they beat the Giants. So they lost to the Colts, the Lions, and the Bears.
You know, the funny thing about those LA teams was they had the fearsome foursome, but the rest of that team, offensively, that team was challenged. They really weren't that good. They were inconsistent.
When did they get Gabriel?
They had Gabriel is like 62.
And then 66, I believe, was the 49ers again.
So we opened against the 49ers in 66.
Yep, they tied 2020.
Oh, geez. Was that at home or was that at Kezar?
It was Kezar. Then they lost the next week to Baltimore. They lost to the Cowboys. Then they lost to the Bears.
Yeah, that team that team was basically that was the swan song. Targeting and Van Brocklen weren't even talking by then. Oh, that's right, Davey. Bill Munson was a quarterback with the Rams too. God, he couldn't get away from the Vikings. If he wasn't with the Rams, he was with the damn Lions too.
67 was the 49ers again.
But that was the first game of the year?
Yep.
In 67?
67 was against the 49ers.
When did they play the Rams?
Second game of the season.
Oh, the second game of the season.
They lost their first 4.
Okay.
And they lost 27-21 to the Niners, 33. They lost 39-3 against the Rams.
Yep.
17-7 against the Bears and 34-24 against the Cardinals.
Yeah, that Ram game was played on a Friday night. That's the game that Joe Cap cussed out the fearsome foursome.
They beat the Packers, which is always good. Then they tied Baltimore, and then they lost again to the Falcons.
Okay. And that game they beat the Packers in was the first game.
They had 3 ties that year.
Was the first game ever started by Alan Page as a Viking. Page was not the starter. Open a season, he became the starter for the Packer game.
And then 68 was the Falcons.
That was what?
47-7.
47-7.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that was what? That was Falcons' first year, right?
Third year.
Third year. Okay.
Third year. I don't think Van Brocklen wasn't their coach, was he?
The Falcons?
Yeah. I don't know when Van Brocklen got to the Falcons.
Head coach was Norm Heckler. Van Brocklen was 2-9. Norm Heckler was 0-3. So I don't know if Van Brocklen replaced Heckler or Heckler replaced Van Brocklen.
No, Van Brocklen replaced Hector.
Yeah.
Because Van Brocklen beat him in 69, and Van Brocklen actually beat the Vikings a couple times. 69-73, he beat them.
69 was the year they opened against the
69 was the Giants. 70 was the Chiefs. 71 was the Lions, Monday Night Football. 72 was the Redskins, Monday Night Football. 73 was the Raiders at home. 74 was at Green Bay. 75 was the Niners. 76 was at New Orleans. 77 was the Cowboys. We lost in overtime. Fred Cox missed a field goal in overtime that would have won it.
All right, so did you say 73 was
Oakland? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to catch up here. He doesn't load as fast. So 74 was the Packers. All right, now 75.
75 was the Niners.
75 was the Niners again.
Yeah, Davey, Paul Dixon was a starter. He started next to Gary Larson, I think Gary suffered an injury in 67. He missed a couple of games, which led to Alan Page starting. Alan Page was technically a defensive end, but we moved him to defensive tackle when he got to the Vikings. So, and then 78 was, of course, the Pope game. We lost to the Saints. And that was basically because of a pick six that Fran threw to Tommy Myers. He returned to 94 yards.
So 77, you said the Cowgirls.
Yep, 77 was the Cowgirls. They beat us in overtime.
78 was the Taints.
Yep. 79 was the Niners. That was a come from behind. That was Tommy Kramer. Tommy Kramer threw 4 TD passes that game. Ahmad Rashad caught the game winner. We beat them 27-22, I believe. The Niners. And then 1980 was the Falcons. We won that on the last second field goal. 1981, we lost to Tampa Bay on a Saturday night.
At the Big Sombrero.
We lost 21-13. 82, the first game ever at the Metrodome, we won 17-10. 83.
So back-to-back years against the Bucks.
Yeah, back-to-back years against the Bucks, who are in our division, by the way.
Yeah.
83, we opened up against Cleveland in Cleveland and beat the Browns 27-21.
Yep.
84.
We lost the next week to San Fran.
Oh, San Francisco blew us out on Thursday Night Football, 48-17.
Yeah.
That was ugly. We were losing 41 to. I want to say we were losing 41-10 at halftime. It was bad.
Wasn't very pretty.
No, it was ugly. 84 was the Les Steckles year, and we got our asses kicked by the Chargers.
Yeah, 42-13.
Yeah, that was bad. 85, we beat the Niners. Bud's game back, we beat the Niners.
So, like I said, I think we faced the 49ers more than anybody else on opening weekend.
Yeah, I mean, and then 86 was Burnsy's first year, and we lost to the Lions 10-7. And that was, I remember that game because
13-10.
What was it?
13-10.
13-10? Okay.
Yeah.
The Lions had James Jones as running back. He gained like 186 yards on the Vikings. That was 86. 87, we beat the Lions. DJ Dozier had 3 touchdowns. That was 87.
Yeah, 34-19.
34-19. 88, we lost to the Bills. Was that 13-10?
I'm pulling it up now. Like I said, the more modern times you get, the more I have to scroll through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 13-10. They lost at Rich Stadium.
At Rich Stadium. That's a game where Bruce Smith got suspended.
So far, no Seattle.
No.
Who else do people say that we didn't open up against?
We have opened against Houston, the old Houston Oilers. We opened up in 89.
What are you looking at right now? I'm looking at 89.
We beat them 34-7.
Yep, 38-7.
38-7.
Don't skip them 4 points, Tony.
I know. That's my memory. Yeah, T-Bass, Billy Sims was done in 85. He got hurt at the Metrodome on a tackle by Walker Lee Ashley when they played the Vikings in 84, and he never played it down after that. So he was done in 85. And let's see, I left 1990. We opened against the Chiefs.
Yep.
We lost 24-21.
God, 1990. Jeez.
That was 90. 91.
Ooh, that was not a very good season. Holy cow.
No, that was 90 was the year Keith Millard got hurt. Wade Wilson got hurt. They started 1-6. Yeah, it was bad. Yeah, that's right, Davey. We that week after the 89 game, we beat the Oilers 38-7, then we turn around and lose to the Bears 38-7. 91, we lost to the Bears 10-6 in Chicago. 92 was Denny Green's first game.
I noticed one thing though. We play San Francisco a lot.
It's always a good matchup. It's always a good matchup. Always has been.
Yeah, so
Open up the
92
Packers in 92. That was a win. 23-20
overtime.
overtime. Lost to the Raiders in 93. Was that 24-7?
Come on. Regular season 24/7.
Okay. 94, we lost to the Packers 16-10 in Lambeau. And that was the first year the Packers went to Lambeau full time. They weren't splitting stadiums. 95, we got our asses kicked by the Bears. What was that? Was that like 38-14 or something like that?
It was 31-14.
31-14. That was
But
95.
then we beat
90,
the Steelers 44-24.
yeah, that was the game where Robert Smith scored that touchdown with no shoe.
Is that the one where he shoved the
picture in the
pocket?
Yeah, that's the one. Yep. And then 96, we beat the Lions, I think 17-13.
Yeah, they started off 4-0.
Yep, that was that was Brad Johnson.
And then they collapsed.
Got hurt.
They collapsed, finished 9-7.
Yep. And then the next year we beat the Bills. I don't remember the score. Was it 34-17? 34-13?
34-13.
34-13. Okay, that was, what am I at, 97? Okay, I remember 98 because I was there. It was Randy Moss's first game. He had just got the number 84. He scored 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he bobbled the first one.
He bobbled the first one. We beat Tampa Bay, what, 31-7?
31-7.
Okay. I was there, so I saw NFL history. That was in 98. 99 was the Falcons. We beat them 17-14.
Once again, the NFL puts a team that beat the Vikings
Yep.
either in the Super Bowl or the NFC Championship game as their next season opponent.
Yeah, we opened up in the Georgia Dome.
Yep.
We won that game.
17-14.
2000, we opened against the Bears and beat them by 3, 30-27. Okay, 2001, we lost to Carolina and Chris Wanke. What was the final, like 21-13?
And that was Carolina's only win that year.
That was Carolina's only win of the year.
I remember I lived in Florida at the time. They lost 24-30. They lost 24-13.
24-13. Steve Smith turned the opening kickoff for a touchdown.
And I will remember because I was at a sports bar, and everybody was like shocked that the Vikings lost that game because the Vikings weren't the best that season, but they were
much better offensively than
Carolina was.
Carolina.
Yeah. That was a 5-11 year. That was not very good years.
That was Denny's last year. And then we opened in 02 against the Bears and lost. That's when the Bears were playing at Indiana Stadium because whatchamacallit was being renovated.
Memorial.
Yeah.
They played at Memorial Stadium. They beat it 27-23 was the final.
27-23. That was 02.
And then the Vikings lost 45-39 to the Bills the next week.
In overtime.
Yep. They started off 0-4.
Yeah, it was bad. And then 03, they opened up against the Packers in 03, didn't they?
03 was against the Packers, 30-25.
Right.
They started off. That was the year they started off 6-0. Remember?
Yeah, and then
they just died.
And then they lost out when Arizona. That was the Arizona Hail Mary.
That was the Arizona game. Yep.
Yeah. 04, they beat the Cowboys. I remember that. They beat the Cowboys in 04.
35-17.
Yeah, and I think Vinny Testaverde was a Cowboys quarterback. That was 04. 05, they lost to Tampa Bay.
They lost 2 in a row. They lost to Tampa Bay, then Cincinnati.
Yeah, Cincinnati blew us out.
37-8.
37-8. Yeah, it was ugly. 06, they beat Washington, I think 14-9.
19-16.
1916. Okay.
And then they won the next week 16-13.
Well, they won. They put up like 2 wins in a row for sure.
Yeah. And then
And
they
then
lost
the
to
Bears beat
then they
them.
lost to the Bears 16-19. Then they lost to the Bills 12-17.
Yep. Yep.
Offense, where are you? We need to a search party out for the offense.
And then that's 06. 07.
Was that his kick-ass offense?
Yeah, that was Childress. 07 was Atlanta. We beat them. What was that? 20,
Atlanta. Yeah. We beat Atlanta 24-3.
24-3. Joey
And then
Harrington was the quarterback.
And then they lost the next 3 games.
Yep. And that was 07. 08. Oh, shit. 08. Oh, who do we open up against in 08?
Packers.
That's right. We lost on Monday night.
24-19.
Yeah, we lost on Monday night. Tavares threw an interception.
And then they lost to the
They lost to the Colts after that, didn't they?
Yeah, Peyton Manning and the Colts.
Yeah, they lost by like 3 points.
The dog clippers are there.
And then 09, they opened up and beat the Browns. What was that? 34-19?
It was 34-20. So the 09, they started off 6-0 that year as well.
Yep. 34-20. And then 2010, that was a disaster of a year.
But I think they won the opening game.
In 2010? Yes, he did.
No, they lost to the Taints.
They lost to the Saints 14.
Now, I don't think we've ever opened up on the Dolphins, but we have played the Dolphins week 2 at least 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, we never opened a season against them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Davey, AP scored his first touchdown. It was a screen. It was a pass.
Yep.
From Tavares Jackson. That he bobbled. He didn't catch it cleanly. 2011, we lost to the Chargers.
Yep.
Percy Harvin opened the year with a kickoff return for a touchdown.
They started off 0-4.
Yep, they lost. They lost to Chargers. 2012, they beat Jacksonville.
I think they lost to the Lions in overtime, and I think that was the Lions only one. Lions.
Was that their only win in 2011? No, they beat us twice in 2011.
Oh, that was the Lions' last good year before the last couple of years.
Yeah. Lions beat us twice in 2011, especially just in Detroit. There was that last play of the game where there was a blatant face mask and they didn't call. 2012, we beat Jacksonville.
Yep.
That was overtime.
Yep.
2013, we lost to Detroit. I remember that because the first play from scrimmage for the Vikings, AP ran off 70-some-odd yard TD run.
They actually started 0-3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 0-3, then they beat the Steelers, and they went to their bye, and then they lost 4 more games.
Yeah, they beat the Steelers in London.
Yeah.
That was the year where
that was the game where Ryan Grant said that Adrian Peterson's made out of iron.
Yep. And so that was
the first time the Vikings played in London.
No, that wasn't the first time.
So they finished the season. What was that
5-10-1?
Yeah, that was not a very good season.
That was Leslie Frazier's last year, and you knew right then and there that Christian Ponder was not the QB for the team. Then 2014, Zimmer's first year, we beat the Rams. Yeah, we beat the Rams in St. Louis.
34-6, Edward Jones Dome.
Yep.
This was the Vikings were playing at TCF.
Yeah, and then we turned around the next week and lost to what was the Patriots score?
Tom Brady we never beat I don't think the Vikings ever beat Tom Brady.
They never beat Tom Brady. What was the score? 30-7 or something like that?
30-7.
30-7, yeah. And then 2015, we opened up on Monday night and lost to the Niners.
Yeah, was that what the 49ers were in all blacks?
That was the all black game.
It was 30-20. The Vikings couldn't do fuck all offense.
Right. They had no offense.
And that was weird because the Vikings were actually good in 2015.
Yeah, Davey, I think the London game, the Vikings and Jets are playing in Tottenham Stadium. I think. Don't you have to check that out? But I think it's Tottenham.
I believe it's Tottenham.
Yeah. That was what 2015, 2016. Was that Tennessee?
That was Tennessee.
Okay.
I think that was
That
the
was
Matt
the eight,
Castle. That was the Matt Castle game.
yeah, that was the 8-8 year. No, that was Sean Hill.
Sean Hill was 20. Was Sean Hill was
Sean Hill was 2016.
was the other year?
Yeah, Sean Hill started that game.
You sure?
I think so.
Let me see.
Thankfully, the defense saved us that game because AP couldn't get started running the ball. Yeah, it was Sean Hill because the first game at US Bank Stadium, Bradford started.
I thought Bradford came in 27. Oh.
I don't think they had. I think they might have had Bradford and didn't play him, or they got Bradford in the middle of the week the next week.
I know Matt Castle did start against Tennessee. So
Castle started the year before. Castle started when Castle started for Zimmer in 2014.
I remember Castle beating Tennessee. So
Castle wasn't there in 2016. I know that. And that was 2016. We ended up 8-8 that year too.
NFL.com takes forever.
And that's only because that's when the injury bug hit the team. 2017 was the Monday night game.
So it was okay. No, it was Sean Hill.
Was it Sean Hill?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just remember Matt Castle beating Tennessee for some reason.
Tennessee was in the South, right?
Yeah.
It might have been preseason. You know. 2017 was the Saints. That was the Monday night game. That was Bradford's game.
Yeah, that was that was the year they got Moritz Bullringer in the draft.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. Yeah, so Saints yeah, I forgot they only lost 3 games that year.
Yeah. So they go to the playoffs that year, go to the far as the championship, and we know what happens there. 2018, the start of the Kirk Cousins era.
So what? My mind's drawing a blank on that. What happened in 2017 again? I don't remember.
We went to the 2018.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I block out all the Super Bowl years. I just do. 2018, who do we open up against?
The 49ers again.
That was the Niners. Okay. We won that one. And then we tied Green Bay the next week and cut Daniel.
And then Allen, the Everson Griffin game where he went crazy was the next game. Buffalo Bills.
Yeah. Everson got suspended, which
Josh Allen had that huge game against us.
That highlight reel of jumping over Anthony Barr.
Yeah. What, man?
I don't have a Starbucks gift card.
Look at you.
That was 2018. 2019, was that Atlanta?
I believe so. We can go to 7-Eleven in the morning, get gas, and eat your
I need some cash too.
Atlanta, 28-12.
28-12, okay. Anthony Harris had a couple interceptions that game. Eric Wilson blocked a punt. I remember that. 2020.
I was at the Packers because that was a COVID year.
That was a COVID year. That was the Packers. They beat us like 40-31 or something like that.
No, I think we beat them. Oh yeah, no,
we
you're right.
Lost.
No, it was 43-34. It was a shootout.
43-34, we lost.
Right, and then they lost to the Colts and then the Titans.
Yeah, that was the COVID year. And then
The first win of that year was against the Texans.
2021. Who do we open up against in 2021?
The Bengals overtime loss.
That was the Bengals. Let's not talk about that one.
Yeah, that was the overtime loss.
2022 was the Packers. That was KLC's first game.
That was the one that we beat them 23-7.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we go and get our ass beaten by the Eagles next week, Monday night game.
Yeah. And it happens every year because guess what? They scheduled the Eagles again last year. Who do we open the season against?
I'm looking back at that year. They only lost every game by double digits, man.
Yeah.
Last year was the Bucks.
Yeah, and they got beat by the Bucks on Bud Grant Day. God, nice way to honor your greatest coach. You lose.
And then they lost to the Eagles again.
And lost to the Eagles. You know what's funny?
Then they lost to the Chargers.
After Kirk plays the Steelers on Sunday, guess where he's going next Monday?
Philly.
Yep. Yeah.
So it's the Steelers, the Seahawks, and the Dolphins are the three teams that I got that we have not opened up against.
Wow, that's it. Yeah. That's it.
I could be missing one, but I think they've opened up against everybody but those three teams.
No, we've opened up against everybody.
Except for those three.
Except
the Patriots.
Patriots and Cardinals.
Yeah, so those are the five teams.
Yeah. Patriots and Cardinals, but we opened up against everybody else. Even the older teams.
Well, they opened up the Oilers and the Tennessee. They've done that. The Chiefs they opened up against, a couple times.
Yep.
But Chargers, I think, twice. Giants twice. But yeah. It looks like the 49ers are the team they opened up against the most, which is weird.
Yeah, the 49ers seem to be the marquee matchup for opening day.
Which is kind of weird that this is only the second time. Wait, I don't think the Eagles are on there either, right? I don't think the Eagles opened up against either.
No, we've never opened a season against Philadelphia either.
So
the 5 running backs in our division, I hated playing. Well, number 1 is Walter Payton.
I remember this quote. Was it John Randall or it may have been Henry Thomas? I don't know. But they were told by the Vikings coaching staff, when we play Detroit and you're playing Barry Sanders, if he runs the other way, do not chase. Stay where you're at.
Stay home. Yep.
Stay home because he
was coming back.
And he's like, we were such idiots. We wanted to make the tackle that we did the exact opposite of what the coach said, and we followed him. And
he was going to come back.
He went right back to where we were.
Yeah. Yeah, Peyton was 1, Sanders was 2. In his prime, Gale Sayers.
And Billy Sims.
Yeah, Billy Sims, that's 4. That's probably it.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Packers, I don't think there's ever been a running back that has scared the Vikings. I mean, Edgar Bennett was good, but he wasn't scary.
Matt Forte's Shaq was good, but he didn't scare you.
No.
He
Neil
wasn't.
Anderson was okay, but he didn't scare you.
Neil Anderson was okay, didn't scare you. Walter Payton scared you.
Yes, Walter Payton, Barry Sanders scared the hell out of you.
Those two scared you.
Billy
Because
Sims, when he was healthy, scared you.
And a healthy Billy Sims was scary too.
And healthy Gale Sayers would have been scary.
Those were all
I don't
scary.
think the Vikings got to play him too many times, but
Yeah, they played what's his name?
And the sad part about Sayers though is if he played today, it wouldn't have been a career-ending injury.
No, he'd have been fine. They'd
The
have had,
Vikings have always had the best. Usually, the Vikings have had the best tradition of running backs in the division.
yeah, when we ran the ball.
Yeah. So the fifth one's tough. The top four are pretty good, but the fifth
Bob
one,
Allstott wasn't in our division that long. And then when
Yeah.
he was there, he was with Warwick Dunn.
yeah.
So if Warwick was the one that got most of the
I would say Wilder.
James Wilder,
Yeah. From
he
Tampa.
only had a couple of good games.
Yeah, but I'm trying to find a fifth one.
I know. I would put Allstott was a hell of a back. So was Warwick Dunn.
Right.
Hell, if you're going to be technical about it, I never saw them play the Vikings, but
Adrian Peterson in practice.
Back in the day, they were a pain in the ass. Jim Taylor and Paul Harnon.
Yeah,
Back in
but
the day.
they did most of their stuff before the Vikings became like Vikings.
Yeah, but he was still dominant when the Vikings
Yeah.
were, Brockington was a load. Him and MacArthur laying in the backfield, they had a tendency, the Packers would run on the Purple People Eaters and have success.
Yeah.
They would. Matter of
But
fact,
that's pretty. But if you're talking Green Bay running backs, that's the top of the line right there. As far as,
recent history, yeah.
I mean, Packers have had. Well, okay, I would say the guy who plays for the Vikings now.
Well, they've had Aaron Jones, they've had Dorsey Levens, they've had
I'm saying Aaron Jones.
They've
break
had
one off you, so I would say Aaron Jones.
yeah.
No, Ahmad Green wasn't a speed threat. He just.
I liked Amon. Amon was in Seattle first. He was back in Seattle.
Now, if you're talking wide receivers, that's a whole different discussion.
And put it this way, the only reason that Green Bay's receivers scared me was because of who was throwing the ball to him.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
But the Lions had some dudes at receiver.
I mean, the Lions had Barry. Barry and Peyton were probably the top five.
Well, they had Herman Moore. They had Benny Blades. I'm sorry, Brian Blades.
They had Brian Blades. They had Johnny Morton. They had guys that could catch. They just didn't have quarterbacks that could throw to them.
Right.
You go Rodney Peete, Andre Ware, Gagliano.
Scott Mitchell had that one good year.
Oh my God! I'm so glad the Vikings did not sign him. Denny wanted him bad. Denny wanted him so bad. Detroit spent the money on him, and I'm glad they did.
Harrington. Jeez.
I'm glad they did.
But yeah, the Bears really. You would think that the Bears, the running back would be the position that you'd fear the most playing against the Bears, because their quarterback play and their receiver play has been garbage. The Bears have always been the defensive team. Always. Chicago.
Whenever I think of the Bears, I either think of the running back or middle linebacker.
Right. And when the Bears have not had a good defense is when they've been really bad.
Yeah.
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 This is probably the best Bears offense. If Caleb plays up to his potential, this will probably be one of the best Bears offenses ever.
Yeah, I mean, and winging it, it's kind of a different era now where they do throw the ball more.
Yeah.
But back in the day, running the ball,
3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Yeah, and what the problem was when Walter came into the league, the Viking defense was much older. So, I mean, when he gained that 275 against the Vikings, I mean, Jim Marshall was damn near 40, Carl Eller was 37, Alan Page was 33, and they were old, and they still had Bobby Bryant in the secondary with Paul Krause. Paul Krause was in his 30s, and so was Bobby. But
if you look back at that Bears team, though, other than Walter Payton, Willie Gault was really the only threat they had on that offense.
Yeah, and you didn't always have a quarterback to get them the ball.
Right. So the Bears, even though they had Walter Payton, those Bears teams won because of their defense.
Well, they had that offensive line, and they had it where it counted, the trenches.
Yeah.
They were going to beat you up on both sides of the ball.
She'll move when you sit down.
With the Vikings after the stalwarts of the defense retired, the defense kind of went to shit.
Right, which is why the Bears were so bad for so long.
Yeah, and
Because
then
when Stig Luckman, a quarterback from the 30s and 40s, still has most of your records for passing the ball, you know your quarterback play is not been good. Jay Cutler is considered probably one of the best QBs ever in Chicago Bear history, and that's saying a lot.
and you know how bad your passing history is if Jay Cutler is your best
Yes.
quarterback. My God. Well, before him it was Jim Miller.
Right. Jim Miller.
Jim Harbaugh was up there.
Who was that white guy that wore number 12?
Huh?
Was that they had Cade? Was it Cade McNown?
Cade McNown, yeah.
Cade
Cade McNown. They had Peter Tom Willis. They had Eric Kramer. Kramer was a Lion too.
Yeah, I think he's more known as a Lion.
Yeah, he's more known as a Lion, but I mean, all those years in the Bears' history, and your greatest quarterback is still a quarterback that played during World War II. I mean, and we don't know what Caleb's going to do.
So Sid Luckman played from 1939 to 1948.
Okay.
And then they had Johnny Lujack, which he was pretty good. And they had George Blanda. And for most of the 50s,
That's right. Blanda was their quarterback.
They had Ed Brown.
Okay.
Billy Wade, the guy who could run better than he could throw.
Okay.
Rudy Bukovic.
Okay. Rudy Bukic, yeah.
Sorry. Jack Concannon.
Okay, yeah.
Bobby Douglas for a year.
The left-hander.
Then they went back to Concannon. Then they went back to Douglas. Gary Huff. Bob Avellini.
Oh, God. He just passed away.
Mike Phipps.
Yeah, they got Phipps from Cleveland in 78.
Mike Evans. Was that the one guy who was a backup for the Raiders? Vince Evans?
Yeah, Vince Evans. That's him.
Okay, Jim McMahon from 82 to 85. They also had
Greg had
84. McMahon, Fuller, Rusty Litch, Bob Avellini, and Greg Landry all played.
Yeah, they were all with them in 84. But that's the year they had the number one defense.
Yeah, then McMahon and Steve Fuller were 85. Then Tom Zach, McMahon, Fuller, Flutie in 86.
Yep.
And then 87 back to McMahon, 88 back to McMahon, Tom Zach in 89, then Jim Harbaugh from 90 to 93. I thought he was there longer.
He got there in 87. He was the number one draft choice in 87. He didn't start all
He
the
just
time.
didn't play for Dave McMahon. And then Steve Walsh, and then Eric Kramer, Dave Craig, then back to Kramer. Oh my gosh, Shane Matthews, Kane McNown, Jim Miller, Cordell Stewart.
Yeah, they had Cordell.
Greg Krenzel. Okay, Greg Krenzel, Chad Hutchinson, Jonathan Quinn, Rex Grossman in 2004. Then Kyle Orton, then Rex Grossman, and then Rex Grossman in 06. And then
He went to the Super Bowl with Grossman and Orton.
Right. And then 07 was Grossman, he got hurt. Then Brian Greasy and Kyle Orton. And then 08 was Kyle Orton. And then Jay Cutler from 2009 to 2015. And then they went to Matt Barkley. Then they had Mitchell Trubisky, Justin Fields. So that is horrible.
Yeah, and I think the Vikings fucking Spielman wanted Justin Fields.
That's awful quarterback history.
Yeah, Spielman was going to trade up for Justin Fields.
Did you see? Speaking of that, well, let's hit on it real quick. The Zimmer comments. Did you see the Zimmer comments?
I saw them. Zimmer's Zimmer. It's everybody's fault except his.
Right. That was the biggest thing I took away from it. That he didn't take any accountability.
Yeah, that's never changed.
He pretty much let the beans out of the bag when he said, "I did not want them to sign Kirk Cousins, and I did not want them the draft picks that Spielman drafted. He did not want those guys either."
No.
So I don't think Kwesi and KOC have that problem. But
no, it's what happened. It
and your
was
head coach don't talk to each other, that's a problem.
they. It started with Zimmer long before Cousins got there. It started in 2016.
Yeah,
I
they drafted some players. Rick Spielman drafted some players when Zimmer is like, I can't do anything with these guys.
Well, then, and Rick Zimmer banked everything on Teddy. Teddy gets hurt thanks to AP.
Oh, you let it out of the bag, Tony.
What?
How he got hurt.
I don't care.
Might as well tell the story now.
AP stepped on him as he in a drill. He was going back to pass, and AP stepped on him, and
Right as Teddy Bridgewater was trying to lift his foot,
yes,
AP stepped on his foot. That's why the injury was so bad.
that's why the injury happened. That was AP's fault.
Breaking news for those who didn't.
Yeah, for those that didn't know, that's what happened. But I mean, when they got, and here's the problem. Now, here's the biggest problem. Zimmer,
and that came from somebody who told. That came from someone who was at the practice who told Tony.
yeah,
So it's legit.
yep.
Tony knows people who work for the Vikings, and it came from someone who works for the Vikings. Let's just leave it there.
I got connections, people. I'm connected. So not in the mob, but I know my Vikings.
I know things, man.
Yeah, I know things. And if I tell you, I have to kill you. No. It all started when they needed a quarterback, so then they give up the mortgage for Bradford.
Right.
Well, the biggest problem also you had
because
was
Zimmer was happy with what he had on the roster. Zimmer's like,
yeah,
my defense is good. I can win with the quarterbacks I already have.
yeah. But here's where Zimmer screwed up. You had two coaches on your staff that had worked with Bradford. You had Sperano, and you had Shermer. And so they were in Zimmer's ear that they knew what worked best for Sam Bradford and not Norv Turner. Well, what happened was, and Norv was going to retire at that time. Norv slowly got phased out by not Denny. God, he got phased out by Zimmer. Zimmer started giving up most of the play calling duties when it came to Bradford to Shermer and Sperano. That caused friction between Zimmer and Norv Turner. And it came to a head in Chicago. They lost on Monday night. And that was because of Zimmer's defense. Zimmer got into it with Norv, and they got in a fist fight. Not too many punches were landed, but one was landed. That's how Zimmer got his eye messed up, and Norv resigned. So, but that once again, that was Zimmer letting Shermer and Sperano run the locker room, and Zimmer had lost the locker room by then. I heard that on good authority. But Zimmer's whole thing, Zimmer was never the type of guy to take blame for anything. It's everybody else's fault when it comes to Zimmer.
Even though the whole diatribe, it was everybody else's fault.
Yeah, it's everybody else's fault. But you know what, though? He didn't lie. He said that signing Zimmer, he said that signing Kirk Cousins was going to cost people their jobs. He was right. So that part he was right, but he was always, he's never taken responsibility for anything. He's always been, I know what I'm doing, blah, 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 blah. My defense is the best, when your defense is the reason we got blown out in Philadelphia in the championship game.
Yeah, there was the podcast with Alex Boone and Jeremiah Shells.
Well, Searles was like, he's the same guy.
Yeah.
He's the same guy.
What's the login name?
He never takes responsibility. That's just Zimmer. So now be prepared. At the end of the season, Zimmer probably gets that Cowboy job.
I don't know. They said he may never coach again. He may just be an assistant because he doesn't take accountability, and the league knows that he is like that.
Yeah, but who else is going to put up with
So,
Jerry Jones?
I'm just saying. I mean, there's a lot of truth to what Zimmer said. Those comments,
There's a lot of truth. Yeah,
but you still have to take as a head coach.
you got to take responsibility.
Privately, you can tell the team whatever the hell you want privately when the cameras aren't there, reporters aren't there. But the public, as a coach, you have to be accountable. You have to say, Brad Childress was the same way. Brad Childress never really took blame for anything. You have to take blame when things are not going right. That's your as a head coach. That is like your job. It's like being a.
Well,
like,
you know what though? Let's be fair to those guys. We've had moments where KOC doesn't take blame for his.
right. Well, I'm saying that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. You have as a head coach, a great head coach. Andy Reid, when they play a bad game, what does Andy Reid look at what Andy Reid says compared to other coaches? Look what the Harbaugh say when something happens. You know, look at those great Shanahan. Look what he says when things don't go well. You know, we have to get
Don't
we,
even.
we all have to get better.
I'm going to tell you something right now. If we ever get on a show and Trisha's on there, never bring up Shanahan's name.
Well, she has to deal with it just like us as Vikings.
Well, no, he's a lot of people blame
He's
him.
not.
For that.
That's
Super Bowl.
not. But that's not who you blame for that Super Bowl.
It's
You
his
blame
play
Dan
calling.
Quinn. Dan Quinn's the head coach. Dan Quinn needs to tell his offensive coordinator to run the fucking ball. And if you don't run the ball, I'll take play calling duties away from you, and I'll do it myself.
And what's the name? Didn't care anyway. He was already out the door.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Mm.
Do you think Mike Zimmer would have had him throw that ball that many times in that league? Hell no.
Mm-mm. No, Zimmer would have been running the ball.
Yeah, Mike Zimmer would have said, "Run the damn ball."
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, KOC now. That's another reason why I'm kind of worried about KOC.
KOC will not he will not run the ball. It's like he's got this thing about not running the ball, which bothers me. I mean, but yeah, Zimmer. That's all we can say.
Yeah. Well,
Zimmer.
20 years ago, Zimmer would have been a great coach.
Yeah, because he's from that Parcells School of Coaching, which was one of the standards of coaching back then. Strong defense and a good running game, which is what every team wanted. You just wanted your quarterback to be a game manager. But yeah, now with this NFL, I mean, it's all based on fantasy football and putting up points and all this other BS. Then if your defense, you can't really hit anybody anymore. So,
you can't if it's short of the shoulder, but they're so even that
they're taking away. If your defense, they're taking away targets for you to hit. Hell, I mean, your defense now, shoulder to shoulder, you're still gonna get an injury if you don't hit right, and the shoulder pads aren't what they used to be. I mean, these players can't take hits. I mean, you got defenders that won't hit. They think if they push them down, they're going to stay down. Come on. These guys are strong as hell. No matter how skinny they look, they're still strong. You think you pushing them down is going to work? Give me a break.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, you know, and it's such an offensive driven football is so offense now, it's just annoying. If your defense, you're just like an aesthetic. You're like part of a highlight reel, which I think is what the NFL wants.
But they are talking about how I saw this on I was listening to XM radio. I can't remember exactly where it was.
Mm-hmm.
But they were talking about how the Michigan model teams may be going back to that. And the reason they said the reason why Michigan was so successful running the ball, I mean, come on, they ran the ball 40 straight times.
Yeah.
Was if you look at linebackers, defensive linemen today,
They're not built to stop the run.
They're not built to stop the run. They're like 220. They're like two. There's
And
linebackers. There's linebackers that are 195 pounds.
You know what they are?
So
they're a bunch of Ivan Paces.
Right. So basically, what the NFL, basically what people are saying that college football is going to do is college football is going to go back to what it was like in the 80s, getting these big offensive linemen, getting these running backs, and just handing the ball off because they're not big enough to stop it. And that's what they say. Everything goes in cycles. I think that's eventually going to end. The NFL is going to. It's only going to take a team to figure out. All these guys are small, you know. Offensive linemen are big. If we get offensive linemen from college to run first team, you know, get like your Notre Dame offensive lineman, your Michigan offensive lineman, your Wisconsin, the typical offensive linemen that are good in the NFL.
Right.
For teams that run the ball, you stack your lineup, you stack your offensive line with those big dudes.
It's
like the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles are probably going to set the standard because their offensive line, all five of their offensive linemen, it's like they weigh like 1,600 pounds. They're all like 6'5", 6'6".
Yeah.
And they got Saquon Barkley as their running back. They're just going to run.
Well, that's what I said all along. Teams need to go back to it because of the way defenses are built now. They're built to play the pass. Gil, I'll just put this out there. The NFL has never given a damn about CTE.
They don't care about
they don't care unless it's all about the money. They want to make it look like
that's all the NFL cares about.
They want to make it look like they're taking the initiative to make the game safer when in reality, the game sucks. It sucks.
They only care about money. That's why they're going to Brazil. Everything in your mind should say, "Do not go to Brazil."
Yeah, but they're going.
To Brazil. Do not have teams that wear green in that stadium. What do? Not only do they send teams to Brazil, but they send two teams whose primary color is green.
Those players can't leave their hotel.
Exactly. And when you get there, don't leave your hotel.
You can't leave your hotel.
To the bus to the stadium.
Yep.
The stadium to the bus to the hotel.
What is the sense? I mean, the NFL does it for money. Here's the deal. The NFL doesn't care enough about their employees to give them a safe working place.
Hell, we had flooding. We had flooding yesterday in San Antonio from all the rain. My work told me, "Hey, it's flooding. Don't come in. Work from home." You know?
Yeah. The NFL doesn't care.
Do you think the NFL is going to say, "Hey, it's flooding. Let's, no."
The NFL doesn't care because guess what? These players are expendable. As long as there's college football, they are always going to have players. It's that simple. This league, the NFL, they tell you they're doing all this initiative and all that. No, they're not. They're doing these initiatives so their asses don't get sued because plenty of players have wanted to sue them.
If our screen goes black, it's because the NFL found out we're talking about them.
Yeah, screw the NFL bastards. Fuck Roger Goodell. Oh, by the way, I wanted to bring this up. Somebody in the chat tell me, maybe Curtis, you can tell me, have the football pants gotten shorter on players?
Well, they've always kind of been short. They've always kind of ended right at the knee.
Yeah, but these ones are damn near
they're the same length. They just fold them up.
Why?
Because it's all about aesthetics nowadays.
Okay, let that aesthetic hit your ass when you get carried off on the goddamn field.
You can't hit them in the knees anymore.
Oh, they're going to get hit in the knees.
So you hit them above the knees.
They're going to get hit. You don't think they're not going to get hit in the knees? Please.
Yeah.
You think they're not going to get hit in the knees? Yeah, okay. They got you fooled.
I'm just saying I'm saying, no, I'm not saying that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that's what they're thinking. They can't hit us in the knees anymore. They got to hit us. They have like from here to like my waist. That's where the only place they can hit me. Well, they'll tell you that they would, it's, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. When's the Cuban game?
Yeah, that's Brazil. I mean,
hell, when are they going to play? When are they going to play in North Korea? How about Moscow?
They'll be playing in the Middle East here soon.
How about Moscow?
They're going to be playing in the Middle East here soon. All
that oil money.
Don't be shocked if all of a sudden they have a game in like Saudi Arabia.
And they'll hold it in a city where women aren't allowed to enter the stadium.
They can't bring their cheerleaders. Well, they can't. They just got to have them covered.
They just got to be fully covered.
Yep,
Or-
they got to
or-
have them covered.
When I worked at pharmacy tech, I worked with a pharmacist whose cousin worked for Victoria's Secret.
Yeah.
There's a mall in the UAE. I can't remember. She said it was like 18-story mall.
Yeah.
But the floor that Victoria's Secret is on, women are not allowed on that floor.
Okay, Victoria's Secret is for women.
But I'm saying it was on a floor where women are not allowed.
So the men are buying the underwear?
Yeah.
And the men are probably wearing the underwear.
I'm just saying. Oh, they'll put a game in Ukraine and they'll call it, we need to build up the economy for Ukraine to have them get back. So I'm sorry, folks. I know Russia, not to get too political here. I know Russia invaded Ukraine and it was wrong. But could we please stop acting like Ukraine is an innocent country? Most of your hacking stuff, all your online criminal stuff, all that stuff comes from Ukraine. Is Ukraine better than Russia? Yes, but let's stop acting like they're a totally innocent country.
It's all in the Eastern Bloc, put it that way. It's all the Eastern Bloc.
Right. There's a reason why the UK is not part of the UN. I'm just going to say. It's the same reason Russia is not part of the UN. I'm just saying.
Well, and put it this way, we're not. You've got games in London. You got games in.
That would actually be pretty cool.
And I'm not playing a game in Antarctica. Are you out of your goddamn mind?
Outdoor.
There is not enough money to
The ball freezes.
to Antarctica.
The ball freezes in midair.
Hell, no, it ain't happening. Even with global warming, it's not happening. I'll go play in Sweden. Their women are hot.
I'll go play in Ireland. Why doesn't the NFL play in Ireland?
Not yet. They
Their
will.
women are hot.
They'll play in Ireland soon.
I said Irish women are hot, right?
If the NFL, I'll tell you where the NFL probably is going to play next.
Well, they have a game scheduled in Spain next year. They're playing.
It's Barcelona, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Barcelona. You'll probably get a game in Scotland.
Yeah.
You'll probably wherever they had a football team like in the European League, you'll probably get a game. So that means you're having a game in Germany. I don't know if it's Cologne or not.
No, but there was a team in Berlin. There was a team in Munich. There was a team in Cologne.
Winging, I'll tell you what.
Denmark,
yeah, Copenhagen. No, because then the players would all get high.
too many.
They'd all get high.
Red light district.
Yeah. Winging, you know what? I would love to see all the NFC North teams go play outdoors. And here's the thing now. The Bears are going to get an indoor stadium too. So that's what makes it.
Oh, Sarah, how'd your job go?
Oh, hey, Sarah, what's up?
How'd your job interview go? I think it's going the other way, Tony. I think everybody's trying to play indoors.
I think it's a joke. You play outdoors. This whole indoor thing, what you get a Super Bowl one time.
Look at LA's indoors.
LA is backwards.
You know, Arizona's indoors.
Only reason they built that thing indoors was because they wanted to get two teams in there, and they want the friggin' Chargers are dumb enough to pay rent to them stupid asses.
That's why the Cologne Centurions are my favorite team.
Yeah,
that's
Centurions.
That's where my family's from. Cologne.
They're playing the game this year in Frankfurt, right?
Yeah, the Galaxy.
The Galaxy, yeah.
I miss that, man.
I don't know why they don't bring it back.
The Admirals, Scottish
the Amsterdam. That was Amsterdam.
Amsterdam Admirals, yeah.
Yeah, that was Amsterdam. You had before London had a team.
My favorite all-time team, though, before Cologne had a team, was the Barcelona Dragons.
Mine was the London Monarchs.
Yeah. Didn't what's his name play for the Monarchs? The quarterback, Sam Galbraith.
Who?
Sam Galbraith was his last name.
Uh-huh.
But there was a quarterback who was actually made it to the NFL who played for that team as well.
Hey, Gil, I understand that they want more they want more asses in seats, but guess what? If you don't put a product on the field worth putting asses in seats, why are people going to spend the extra amount of money, then pay for the parking, then pay for the concessions. I mean, right there, that's like a
Wait,
whole
wait,
week paycheck.
Sarah, you did say it was a city job, so that's your disorganization right there.
Yeah, and it's Minneapolis, so
Don't think of it that being just disorganized. Think about the benefits. You know, that's
yeah,
what
but
you
you
got
got
to
to
look
get
at.
in first.
Yeah, that's what you got to look at first.
Well, at least you got another job.
Yeah,
Oh, that's right. Hamburg had a team.
yeah. The Hamburg Sea Devils. They were towards the end though.
Yep.
But no, yeah. Let's see. Let's see if I can. How many teams can I think of that played in the World League / your European NFL? So, Orlando Thunder,
Mm-hmm.
Raleigh Durham Seahawks, San
No,
Antonio
they were the Raleigh Durham Skyhawks.
Skyhawks, Raleigh Durham, San Antonio Express, um, Montreal Machine.
Mm-hmm. Sacramento Surge.
Yeah, Sacramento Surge. Then there was
New York, New Jersey Knights.
not yet, but they used the knight from the chess game as their
Yep.
logo.
Yep.
Then there was the Berlin. There was the no, it wasn't Berlin. It was Frankfurt Galaxy. It was
Mhm.
Barcelona Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, they started off as the London Monarchs. Then they
Yep.
turned into the England Monarchs.
Yep.
Then there was the Scottish Claymores. Let's see. I know I'm missing probably like 4 or 5 teams here.
Orlando had a team, right?
Orlando Thunder. They were the first Thunder. Then they became the Berlin Thunder.
Oh, the Berlin Thunder. Okay.
The Sacramento Surge, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm missing some teams, but so I can think about most of them.
Yep. Hey, Gil, I know that's why they want offensive driven, but you know what? There is defense. There is an aesthetic to the game that makes it what it is. When you start making it so many points, you don't want anybody playing defense. Do not use the model that basketball does because nobody plays defense in the goddamn NBA. You got these guys that play defense, let them play defense. Yeah, the Vikings lost their edge when they moved indoors. They lost their edge. Yeah. If Catch is right, they go back to that Michigan style of football. The running back position will become valuable again. But also running backs have a very short shelf life too.
Yeah.
They always have, but usually you get 7 years out of a back, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah, AJ Peterson is the exception, not the rule.
He's a freak of nature.
Yeah.
He's a freak of nature. But even he got towards the end there, he was
Okay, so we had a lot of them right. So we had the New York, New Jersey Knights,
okay.
Montreal Machine,
Okay.
Amsterdam Admirals,
Yep.
Hamburg Sea Devils, Sacramento Surge.
Mm-hmm.
It was the San Antonio Riders.
San Antonio, that's right.
Frankfurt Galaxy, Orlando Thunder,
Mm-hmm.
Barcelona Dragons,
Mm-hmm.
Ohio Glory. Dennis Green coached that team, I think. Scottish Claymores,
Mm-hmm.
the Ryan Durham Skyhawks, Berlin Monarchs, Berlin Thunder, Rhine Fire, Birmingham Fire. So those were the teams that.
You know who was the commissioner of that league when it started, right?
Yeah, Mike Lynn.
Yeah, Mike Lynn. Yeah. He was commissioner of that league and still making money off the Metrodome suites.
Yeah, I believe Dennis Green coached the Ohio Glory.
Huh?
I think Dennis Green was the coach of the Ohio Glory.
No, Danny was with us by then. He coached a UFL team. I want to say he coached a Saber Cats or Saber Tooths or something.
Sacramento Saber. Cats.
Sacramento Saber, yeah. Dante was his quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, JDTAP needs to just hang it up. He needs to call it a career. He's still looking for a payday because the man is broke. Spent all his money. So
California Redwoods, Las Vegas. Yeah, so
that was a
California
team.
Redwoods. Yeah, that was the name of the California team in the original UFF. So I could have swore I remember him coaching the Ohio Glory, but I guess I'm wrong. I remember seeing him on the sidelines as Ohio Glory, but
Oh, coaching? You sure?
yeah. I can't believe I forgot about the Ohio Glory because they had awesome uniforms. They had that round circle with the eagle with the American. Oh,
Yeah. Weren't they like a one and done though?
yeah. Frank opened in 1992, closed in 1992.
Yeah. The other team started in 91, I believe.
Yeah. Let's see.
And here's the thing: that was just regular football. I don't think they had any different rules from the NFL.
Larry Little was the head coach.
Larry Little,
Yeah.
the guard for the Dolphins. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I think he's like the only one left from that offensive line of the Dolphins.
Dave Laufenberger was one of their quarterbacks.
That guy played forever. Every different team. Every different team.
Yeah, they were one and done. They only had one win.
Yeah.
That's usually what happened with that league. That league was so unstable.
Yeah, and then the NFL took it over and made it completely European.
Yeah.
But that didn't last very long. What was it? Was it 10? Not even 10.
91 to 97 was the original. Well, not the original, the second iteration of the World League because they had one in the 70s as well.
Okay.
But from 97, that's in 91 and 97, and then they did the NFL Europe after that.
Okay. Yeah, the Dolphins haven't done well in the playoffs either. They're kind of in a playoff drought.
Yeah, that's the thing about the Dolphins. They haven't won a playoff game in a long time.
It's been a minute. It's been a
The
minute.
61-7 loss to Jacksonville. That Dan Marino's last game.
Dan Marino's last game. That was bad. That was bad.
Yeah.
Well, should we wrap it up here?
Yes. Was it 2000?
Yeah.
I know it's been a while.
I know. I think Flutie beat him in the playoffs.
I know they blew a huge lead last year.
Yeah. Well, and then it was 40 degrees and they lost.
The last playoff game was 2000. They beat the Colts 23-17.
When was it?
2000.
They beat the Colts?
Beat the Colts 23-17. In
Peyton
overtime.
Manning. It's Peyton Manning.
And then they lost the next week to the Oakland Raiders 27-0.
Oh my God. They got shut out by the Raiders?
Yep.
Oh my God.
They beat Seattle in 1999 20-17.
Okay.
It was 62-7 that they lost to Jacksonville. But because Seattle used to be in the AFC.
Yeah, Seattle was in the AFC West.
And then they beat the Bills in 1999. They beat the Chiefs in 94. San Diego in '92. So it looks like they're one and done usually.
Yep.
The last time that they won more than 2 playoff games was '84, which is the last time they were.
That's when he went to Super Bowl.
Yep.
And got throttled by the Niners.
And then '82, they won 3 playoff games and they lost to the Redskins in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's because we had the playoff tournament.
Yeah.
So we are all set for Friday then, right?
Yeah, we're all set for Friday.
All right.
Same time that we always are. Sarah, if you're still here, I'll look out for your
link.
Yeah. For your link for the Friday chat.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and do that. Talk about anything you want. That's also a free form show. We send an invite out to the chat, and anybody can join. I will be by myself.
There is an NFL game that night, the game in Brazil.
Yep, plus the game the night before. So we'll talk about that.
So we'll have.
My wife is going out of town. It's not for good reason. So hopefully everything's good on my wife's side.
Yep.
So we'll do the Friday show. Anything else, Tony? Do you have anything on your YouTube pages or anything? Not your YouTube page, but your Facebook pages?
Just check them out. If you're on Facebook, they're all 24/7, 365. Minnesota Vikings, NFL and Pro Football, and Classic NFL and Pro Football. And they're all 24/7, 365.
And then my YouTube channel is, Skull TY at Catch 84. I'm also on X at Catch 84. Tony does most of all. Tony's stuff on YouTube is on Yogi's channel, which is the Fat Boys Football Focus channel.
I will start I'll probably record my first Tony's take after the first game, and I will post that on your page and also on Yogi's page.
Okay.
My reaction to the game.
So be on lookout for Tony's takes. Also, I do not know positive yet if I'm going to do a live stream of the Vikings game. I don't know yet, but I will let you know on Friday.
So everybody, I just want to put this out there, including the catch. Please wish me luck on Sunday, because not only will I be watching the Viking game, I will also be watching the Steelers-Falcons game with the love of my life, Trisha, as her team now has Kirk Cousins as their starting quarterback.
Pick 6 in the game.
Please pray for me. She's going to have to live through the shit I lived through the last 6 years.
Kirk Cousins a pick 6 in the game.
Oh, my God. If he throws a pick 6 and it costs them, I'm giving her your number.
Who is this? I don't know who this. I don't know.
You will not listen to this alone.
I do not know who this person is.
I mean, it's gonna. I mean, if Kirk balls out, then yeah, whatever. But if she sees the same Kirk that we dealt with over the last 6 years,
Oh, she will.
oh, it's gonna happen.
He's going to look fantastic. And the Falcon fans, he's the greatest quarterback since sliced bread. The Falcons led the whole way. Oh, this is awesome.
That's week 1. By week 7, it's like, where's Penix?
God damn it, it's 4th and 5. Why the hell did he throw a 4th and 1?
Oh, basically everything I said to her when Kirk was here, it's going to come back on me.
You're going to see him on the plane wearing the grill.
Oh, God. Oh, Kirk O'Chains.
It's more like, what's it like?
Oh, my God. Kirk O'Chains in Atlanta. Oh, my God. Oh. Just pray for me, people.
Yeah. Minneapolis Police Department. I haven't seen my YouTube partner in 2 weeks. I don't know where he's at. His girlfriend's house might be a good place to look.
Well, I'm lucky she's in California, but I'll tell you what, if it goes really bad, she'll take a first-class ticket.
I will tell you right now. She'll buy a car, throw your ass in the trunk, and drive
God.
Well, like again, we'd like to thank everybody for joining us. Can appreciate it. How much? Please like and subscribe to my channel. So I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers. I'm a little bit away, but if anybody who has not subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe to my channel.
Yep.
I at least want to get it to where I can start getting monetized.
Yep.
And like I said, just like Yugi, almost anything I get from this channel will go back into the community. So, but you have to reach a certain amount of watch hours and a certain amount of subscribes to get that far. Because YouTube takes 55. I think YouTube takes 45% of when you give a super chat. I think YouTube takes 45% of that. So, that's why YouTube's $1 billion company. But I still want to get there, so I would appreciate if everybody likes and subscribes. I'm gonna try to start doing shorts. I don't know how well it's gonna work. My first one may be terrible, but
Terrible.
I'm gonna try it. So
It's gonna be terrible.
yeah. So if anybody is out there, okay, that actually, Bob, that's a great idea.
That is a very good idea. We'll do offenses and defenses.
Yeah. Well, 98 is going to be the best offense. So, all
You
right,
sure
guys.
about that?
Was that?
You sure about that?
Yeah. I don't know. We'll discuss. We'll leave that. We'll leave that link. We'll leave that hanging. So once again, I would stop making comments, people. I want to read you. All right. So thank you guys for showing up. You guys always do. We appreciate you. And
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much.
Friday. I'm going to play the intro again because we both like it better than the outro.